Morning, presiding officers. Paul Vecchiato, Business Day. On the Wednesday, at the media briefing here, Ms. Holtzman, who is head of parliamentary security, sat over that side, and she said to us very clearly, no extraordinary security measures were being put in place. Now, we have detailed information. We've got it from statements from members of the bouncers there in the National Assembly, how they were divided up into teams, combined teams of public order policemen, members of the counter-assault team, and members of parliamentary security, trained together for 2 weeks, coming into the National Assembly. In the chamber, as you know, is the exclusive reserve of the MPs. We saw them lounging around in the chairs down there, even in your chair. They came through, they had photographs of members of parliament from 2 political parties named as their targets, the Democratic Alliance and the Economic Freedom Fighters. Is this not a subversion of the Constitution and the National Assembly? And secondly, the use of the jamming device. If you were not aware of it, then surely that is a breach of security, because their jamming device could have been something else. Thank you very much.
All right, can we take Marianne?
Marianne Merton, Independent Newspapers. It's a follow-on from here. Would you please clarify who you refer to by those people? They surely will have a media conference, etc., etc., etc. Because both the police at national level as well as state security agency at national level have referred all queries and inquiries directly to Parliament, clearly indicating that they expect Parliament to make a statement. You clearly have now said that at a briefing Wednesday, you became aware of what, etc., etc. So maybe you could actually explain how it was possible for Parliament to agree as the legislative sphere of government by an intrusion of the executive, aka the security cluster, which has never happened before to this extent as we have seen last week. Particularly, and the Act has been mentioned, and I'd like to refer, as you very well know, Section 11, that the presiding officers are in charge of parliamentary precinct. Section 11 clearly says security services may only enter and perform any functions, policing, etc., etc., under the express permission and authority of the presiding officers. Now, given that this is what the law states, surely the presiding officers, all 4 of you, gentlemen and ladies, sitting here, must have agreed. And it's not good enough to simply pass off that somebody will maybe say something, maybe at some stage. And it's not good enough to say, you know, the way these security people dress, it's their business. The people who moved into the National Assembly were disguised. There were people from the riot police, there were people from the counter-assault team, there were people from the Parliamentary Protection Services. They were disguised. Surely as the presiding officers of an eminent sphere of state, that must be a concern to you. And surely we are here. We would like to hear your statements on that. And with respect to the NCOP Deputy Chairperson, I hear exactly where you're coming from, and that's fine if that's how you would like to handle the situation. But at the same time, you cannot proclaim that this is a matter for a political party to deal with. And at the same time, use statements that another political party has made outside of the House to attack that political party. There must be an even-handedness.
Marianne,
if you could address that, thank you.
Can we just give other people a chance, because there are more questions, please. Right behind Gay, and then Gay the next, and then I'll move to this end. Did I skip you? Can you get...
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. My name is Lukhanyo Khalata. I work for the SABC. Madam Speaker, you've said on a few occasions that the media were not the target of the scrambling device. I'd like to know if it wasn't the media, then who was? Who was the target? And just as a follow-up on the question that was asked by Paul, we were told last week that there weren't any special security measures taken for Sona. But obviously in hindsight, and I think you even said so as well, ma'am, that there weren't any special security measures taken. There weren't any special plans that were taken. Now we know there were. If you weren't aware of the plans that were being taken, how then do you allow something like that to happen in your house? Because this is your house, man. If somebody is going to come into your house and just do as they please, how do you allow something like that to happen?
All right, can
Thanks
you
very
take?
much.
Okay.
Thanks, I'm largely covered. I'd like to have an answer, please, as to whether the footage that was captured by the cameras in Parliament on Thursday, whether that footage still exists. I know that it did not go out on the feed, but I know that Parliament's got the capacity, the events were still recorded. Has that been reviewed? Will it be reviewed? And most importantly, do you still have it? And is it accessible? And then the other question that I've got relates to what appears to be the bad faith. Why were we lied to, as the media of this institution, when we were told, not by one, but several figures of authority, that there were no extraordinary security measures being taken in preparation for Sona? We all sat here and we heard that and we reported on it. So I think that an essential question that we'd like to have answered as members of the media here today is, how do you go about restoring the relationship? I mean, how do we trust you when what you say? How can we believe you when you say that you weren't responsible for the device? When we have evidence of the wool being pulled over our eyes, we report on matters from here in good faith on the basis that we're told facts and people are being honest with us. I think it's a serious problem. And then just the other thing is that with reference to the dress of the men who looked like waiters, the Police Act is quite explicit. It says that members of the service have to be identified, have to identify themselves to people. We're living in a time when civilians are being held by the police on the basis that they're foreigners and whose representations
I think,
can
I just say, I really want to intervene because
okay.
if
but
we
I'll just make that point about the Police Act, so it's not
that.
their own business. It's the people's
let's allow
business.
other
Thanks.
people to also raise questions so that the POs can answer. The lady next